And joining us once again here on the Jay Stevens podcast, he has been a guest a few times, but it's been quite a long time since Chris and I have been able to chop it up and have a good time talking about sports. We had Jeff Hunt on last week, talked about the Off the Ball Network. Well, today we have the head honcho of the Off the Ball Network and the Off the Ball podcast as well. It is Chris Lebron. Chris, how you doing, man?
Hey Jay, man, it's always a pleasure to be on the show, man. Just happy to be on. And like I said, like we talked about before we got on, man. A lot's changed since the last time, since the first time we did this, and we've both come a long way. So I'm happy to be on and chop it up with you today.
We're going to talk about those changes here really quickly, but I got to say this, Chris, you and I mentioned this before. Chris's podcast, that was the second podcast I was ever on, and it was during like the most awkward situation one of the most awkward situations in my life. Kobe Bryant passed away, almost coming up on the 1-year anniversary of that date. And so Chris and I it was me, Chris, LeBron, and Chris Powell. So Chris, I never told you this story. So I don't think I knew you at that time. I didn't know Chris Powell at all. I had never heard of him. And so what I heard is Chris and Chris, I'm thinking, I don't know which one's talking. I don't know if it's Chris Powell talking. I don't know if it's Chris LeBron talking. I know who the host name is, but I had no idea who's talking at what time. So I ain't gonna lie, bro. I was kind of confused as far as who I was talking to at the time because it's two Chris's. I don't know either one of y'all. But at that time, second show I was on, coming up on the 1-year anniversary, I was young in the podcast game, and you, my friend, were young at that time as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we did that show, I had done the show for a little bit, but I wasn't consistent until around like the month before that. So you and Chris were the first guest I had on my show. And like I said, I had no clue what I was doing, bro. Like I'll go back to that show and just be like, man, like I've really, improved a lot. I'm still trying to get better, but it's like, wow, night and day from that. But that show is always I'm always gonna be reminded of that show because that was kind of like the first one to like get in the groove, because that was kind of one of my first shows back to getting consistent. And since that show, it's kind of been consistent for the last year. So I always go back to that show and always reminisce. Hey, it's Jay Stevens, Couch Coach, were my first, big guest that I had. The fact that they even wanted to be on my show was a delight. So like I said, man, we've come a long way and we've done some good things since. So, it's been really dope.
Yeah, man, it was dope at that time. It's still dope now. Like we have talked about, both of us have a lot of things going on with our podcast, sometimes doing multiple things in a week. You, my friend, ended up starting the Off the Ball Network, and I have watched from my area, I have watched that network literally blow up. From just you, I know it was Mo, I know Couch Coach was there, I know Jeff was on there, I forget Steven was on there, I forget who else was there in the beginning, but it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And those of you listening that like live shows on Facebook, I know Chris will talk about this a little bit, but they do live shows on Facebook all of the time, some pregame shows. I know Jeff does one for Ohio State. I know Jeff and Steven were doing one just a couple days ago on a movie or a TV show. I mean, you guys are doing a lot with the network. I don't mean to like talk it up like that, but Chris, please let people know why you started the network and some things that make the network unique to you and the guys that are there.
Yeah, so I always wanted to have my own network. That was always a dream of mine, and I just never knew how to go about it, or even if it was possible. And it's just I didn't even know Facebook groups were possible. Podcast, I didn't know that, and it wasn't until like I met people like you, and then I started to get understanding more about podcasting and all that. And then I remembered as my show started to get a little steam, I started rolling a little bit. I got picked up by another network, and they reached out to me. They wanted me, and everything was going good. And I always said, "Man, all right, okay, I'm gonna learn how to see how things get ran with being the head honcho of a network, and how it how to go about it." And I wound up leaving there, and things didn't go the way I wanted to. Just some miscommunication and all that stuff that I just said, if I ever have my own thing, I'm not going to do that, because that was handled really poorly. So I said, you know what? And then I started getting other networks reaching out to me, which was really it was cool. Like I'm a free agent.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I announced my
Basically.
free agency, and there's people coming out to me, reaching out to me, and you know, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. But I was like, and I got some solid offers too, like a lot of good perks. I'm like, okay, you'd be running the head of basketball here, or you could do this. I'm like, it's like, but will I regret not trying to go at it myself and trying to do my own thing? Like, it's cool to be a part of something that's already established, but I could just be another, you know, like that old saying with another peg on the wheel, whatever that old saying is. I could just be a part of it, and why not just go for it and let's try it? And I always said I gotta have a good team, so I'm not gonna just start it and then have no direction. So that's when I said I reached out to Jeff and I reached out to Mo. Jeff was always commenting on my stuff from like the jump, and I was like, "Wow, do I have a fan base?" Like, he's from Ohio, I'm from New
Yeah,
York. Like, what's the
yeah.
correlation? And it's like he just liked my show, and he would always comment, and I was like, "Why this Hunt guy is always commenting?" And then Mo would be the same way on Twitter though. And I was like, and then we started doing. I did a couple shows with Jeff, did a couple shows with Mo, and I was like, and we just had a good. The vibes were just tremendous, and we always do a bunch of live shows. And I said, you know what? I had them back in my mind. If I do this, those are the two guys I'm gonna go ask to help me. And I remembered like, man, what if they say no? Would that be awkward? Like, so I just asked them, like, hey guys, you know, I'm gonna start it up. I'm gonna start my own network up. You guys, I need you. Coming at you. I want you guys to be my two right hand guys. Yeah, and they were like, let's do it. And that's how it was born. Off the Ball Network was born, and figured out the name. You know, I'm not a creative person, so I just piggybacked, kind of just said, you know what, let's piggyback off, you know, the success of my podcast, and just, you know, and that's how we came up Off the Ball Network. And it's just, man, it's just, it's humbling when other people and other networks who have big like budgets come to you and be like, hey man, what are you doing? How you doing that? Like, what's your budget? I was like, my budget is whatever's in my pocket right now. Like,
Right.
I don't really have a budget, and we're just a bunch of hardworking guys, work, you know, do regular jobs, but we just love talking sports and entertainment and all that. And you know, it's taken off way faster than I ever anticipated. And you know, had some, you know, created some dope shows, some dope content, and I got a good crew, guys who were, you know, wanted to take a chance and come join me when, you know, when they could have went somewhere else, or they were a part of something else and they saw what you're doing and were willing to leave somewhere else to come here, you know. So it's been really dope, man. It's just, man, it's work. I'll give you that. It's just work, but it's a lot of fun when you got a good crew around you, and everyone's in it to help each other out and all that. So that makes everything easy. But man, it's been dope. No, it's been really dope, Jay. Like, it's just it's crazy. It's just words can't even describe it. I really feel like this is going to be a good year for the network. So I'm excited.
Yeah, you have a reason to be excited, Ben. I've seen different networks out there. I have seen different shows out there. What you guys have going on is special, and you guys have formed a brotherhood. Now, I don't know like what you guys talk about. Like, I don't know, you guys have like little powwow meetings. I don't know any of that, but you guys truly have a brotherhood there. And just from when I'm able to see things on Facebook and different shows, matter if it's a pregame show, basketball. I know there was like you did stuff for the draft. You guys do a lot of stuff, and the brotherhood that is there is not just something that maybe you guys feel and don't think anybody else sees. From my vantage point, from me, because I know I've done shows with a couple of you. The brotherhood shows from what I see, and just from me to you, man. I know this being recorded, but I don't care. Hey, congratulations! Keep going, don't stop, because man, people out there they get discouraged and they quit. But we can't quit, man. There's a lot of people out there that like what you're doing, and you never know. There could be another stoppage in sports, and they may turn to you to kind of make you be that bridge between point A and then whenever sports come back, point B, man. So Chris, keep it up, man. Keep going. I like what you're doing, man. I love it. And I can see the smile on your face. People on YouTube can as well. You love what you're doing too.
Yeah, man. And thanks for those kind words. It really means a lot coming from you, man. Because you do some dope stuff too. But yeah, we it's just I always said if I like I said when I wanted to start this, I was like I want everyone to feel comfortable with each other. And it's crazy. It's crazy that we have such a bond and none of us have ever met in person, right? And it's crazy. It's just crazy how that all works. And we have a nice little chat room where we discuss everything, and we make sure we got the show scheduling and all that. And like I said, the support, everyone supports each other. Everyone supports all the articles they get written on the website. Like I said, all the live shows. Doing everything from hockey, basketball, football, you name it. Just working on other stuff, just other than sports. Just like trying to expand and all that. But everyone just out to help each other out, and it's like I said, man, it's a lot of fun. And like you said, like there's days where you're like, oh man, like I don't feel it, but it's like there's someone out there that's waiting to listen to the show, like, and it's like now, like, and I'm sure you get the same thing. You get people that out of the nowhere and just like, hey man, that was a really dope show. I can't wait for the next one. And just that one person saying that is like, all right, now I got to put all my effort into this next episode and make sure it's good and it's, I produced it well and it's the audio is good and all that. So when that person listens to it, hey, we don't know what they're going through in life, that might be their hour and a half, hour long show is to just decompress, listen to the show, and just enjoy whatever's we're talking about. So like I said, it's I look forward to that process. It's like I said, it's a lot, and how just editing a show and going through that process, marketing and all that, promoting it. But at the end of the day, when you get positive feedback after it, it makes it all worth it.
It does, man. Chris, something else that puts a smile on your face. You've been smiling the entire time. The New York Knicks are 7-8. Now, those people, they may not follow the Knicks, they may not follow basketball. You may be a football fan only. The New York Knicks have been, I'll say it, a dumpster fire. They've been an embarrassment. And Chris and I have been on the podcast before, talk about Knicks, talk about Giants. Both at the time, they were kind of embarrassing to talk about if you're a fan of that franchise, of either one. But the Knicks 7-8, they just beat the Magic today in a close one. I got some clips from the game, and I'm thinking, man, this Knicks team, man, looking kind of good. If you were to describe the New York Knicks basketball team, I know it's early in the season, but if you were to describe how they're playing so far to someone that knows nothing about the team, how would you describe them?
How would I describe them? Improvement. It's just simple. It's an improvement.
I like that.
Been a really. It's that simple. It's just an improvement from the last 7 years. Like last 7 years.
Whoa, 7 years, bro?
It's been 7 years since we made the playoffs.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, well, last time we made the playoffs, we didn't have the ending we wanted. Your Pacers taking care of us.
Oh, you're right. That was
Roy Hibbert block,
Roy
and
Hibbert, yeah, man.
That's kind of the photo that stays in every Knicks man. Oh, that block. But that's kind of the last time we've had a respectable team, and it's been tough. It's been tough, but if just describing this team, it's just grit, grind and grit. It's just that Thibodeau coaching style, and it's really you see it in the team. It's grind and grit. They're going to play some hard-nosed defense. The defense, I believe, is one of the tops in the league as far as points per game. Offense, you still need some work, obviously, but that comes with when you get some more talent and the young guys start progressing during the year. But it's just improvement. That this team looks better. They had the little funk with their 4-game losing streak, right after being 5-3. Now they've pulled off 2 in a row, 7-8. I mean, if you told me before the season, hey, the Knicks are going to start off 7-8, I think every Knicks fan will take that because there was not a lot of optimism with this team going this year because just didn't have the talent. But Julius Randle has played tremendous basketball. RJ Barrett's playing better of late. Quickly top and the rookies are starting to play a little bit. Richard Robinson. And you could just tell this team is just coached better. Coaching is very important. And you could see how, because it's kind of similar to the team last year, other than a few vets here and there changing, but and some rooks, but just good coaching. And it's just improvement. It really is. This team has improved. They look like a competent basketball team, and that's not something we could have said the last few years with this Knicks team. So Jay, it's improvement, and it makes me happy that they're just playing good defense, and just making it exciting. I don't know how the season's going to end. I don't know if we're going to be in the playoffs. We're going to play in the playing game, but so far and just improvement, and I'm just happy to see that. That's all I really wanted. My expectations. I just didn't want to put expectations on the season. I just said, let me just see better basketball. That's it. That's all I'm asking. I want to see better basketball. I want to be able to know, okay, my team's going to play today and they're going to play hard. And for these 15 games so far, they played hard every game. So I'm just happy that they're improving.
When I think about Thibodeau, I go back to his days with, I believe it was the Chicago Bulls. I want to say he was the coach when they had Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah. My memories, it's like that 10 years ago.
Jimmy Butler,
Yeah. That squad. Luol Deng was good with that team too. Yeah. And so one thing you knew about those squads, offensively, they may not be the best because you had Derrick Rose and Butler and Joakim Noah's jump shots always looking ugly. But defensively, they're right there, and they always play hard. Those might be elementary ways to describe the play of a basketball team, but that's perfectly fine because that describes the Knicks. And when I was watching, when I watched the little bit of basketball I'll be able to watch of the Knicks, I like what I see as well. Young talent. You mentioned quickly and Top. We'll get to them in a second because I want to ask you about Obi Toppin because I liked him coming out of college. I'm interested to see what you've observed from him so far. But you got quickly, you got Toppin, RJ Barrett playing better, Julius Randle playing better, Bullock. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are just playing better. And a lot of times playing better is simply having a coach that believes in you and you play harder, Chris, because the guy that's in charge believes in what he believes in you. You don't want to let him down.
Exactly. You said it right. Like the guys are just playing harder. And you hear it from Jimmy Butler. You've heard it from Joakim Noah, Derrick Rose. They love playing for Tibbs. And Tibbs kind of got a bad rap because he plays guys too many minutes. I mean, those are your best players. They're going to play a lot of minutes. I don't know. I always thought that was overblown because people look at the Derrick Rose injury and then like that's much more than just him playing minutes. Just Derrick Rose's style is a very violent style, the way he played, the way he was just so physical. And, and let's face it, if Derrick Rose doesn't get hurt, we might be talking about Thibodeau being possibly, a championship coach.
Yeah.
And then people look at the Minnesota stuff and, maybe he just had too much power. We've seen that with Doc. Like Doc just had too much power. They just let it go and just be the coach. Just be the coach, just handle that and, doing too much. But he did take Minnesota to the playoffs after not being in the playoffs for a very long time. So he, you got to give him credit. People want to get, but it's just, you could see in the coaching, man. It's kind of the same. Julius Randle looks like an all-star where last year people wanted him. They wanted him. They were shaming him. They're like, get out of here. We'll trade you for a bag of chips and a Gatorade bottle. And his game has just changed so much this year. He's playing less selfish, more team basketball, finding the open guys, backdoor cuts and all that. He's just playing great basketball. RJ up and down a little bit, but he's definitely looked better. But they just look like a real basketball team. And I think that's, players buy into coaches who know what they're doing. Like it just seems like with previous coachings, they were just all names. Derek Fisher, Fizdale. These are all guys that have, just names. And they just got a coach guy and say, all right, you know what? Enough of all that. Let's just get a guy who knows how to coach. Because at the end of the day, you were a coach. And they put around a good assistants, Johnny Bryan, Mike Woodson. They brought on a nice, develop guys who know how to develop players, and Kenny Payne from Kentucky. I mean, look at Kentucky right now. Kenny Payne's gone. Kentucky's not playing good basketball.
No, they're not.
So, I mean, that's a big reason why they're struggling. So, just good coaching, man. It goes a long way. And I'm just happy that we got good coaching finally because it's been a while. It's been a while.
It has been a while. I had not realized it had been 7 years since the Knicks had made the playoffs. But if I think in my mind, Melo was sure. I think he left shortly after that. And that's really the last time that the Knicks were a good basketball team was when Melo was there. When you had Melo, it was fun. And I remember going to Pacers and Knicks games. And bro, my mom, I used to live with my parents for a little bit. And my mom loved Carmelo Anthony. All I would have to say is, Mom, Carmelo's coming to play the Pacers. She's like, when? Let me know. Let me know. I mean, bro, she loves Carmelo Anthony. And to the point that now this year, I know we can't go to games, but if we could, I got to say his mom, Portland, Carmelo is coming to Indiana. She's like, when? I'm getting my ticket. And bro, she's right there. And so, and that was my way to get to a Knicks game was because I like Carmelo Anthony. I like watching him play. But they haven't had, even from my standpoint, Pacers and Knicks games my entire life, they have been fun. They've been enjoyable. There's been a deep rivalry when I was a kid, not as much of a rivalry so much lately when I was about 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But now I think you could get those matchups to be a little bit more feisty because the Knicks will play hard and the Pacers will play hard. Obi Toppin, I mean, you mentioned him earlier. Going into at the end of the college basketball season, because it got abruptly ended, I was looking and expecting for Obi Toppin to be my guy. I mean, if I'm picking one guy to be my guy out of this draft, it's Obi Toppin. To me, I don't normally do player comparisons, mock drafts, and player evaluation. That's not my thing. I leave that to other people that do that for very well. But me, Obi Toppin was my Amari Stoudemire. That's my player comp for him. And man, he's shooting threes. His bounce, he's very, very springy. Going into the season, what did you expect? What was your evaluation of Obi Toppin? And then from what you've seen, what have you liked and disliked?
Yeah, well, Obi, I loved once I saw him play Dayton, I was like, oh my God.
Man.
He was, like you said, like your guy. It was like, that's my guy.
Yeah.
I loved his game. And I know people were like, oh, but he plays for Dayton, doesn't play for a Power 5 school. And people worried about that. But I was like, man, you see his game. It's like, oh, that translates. His athletic ability is off the charts. You know, he could shoot and all that. And I'm like, he's going to be a good one. And I felt like if he had the tournament, that people would have got to see him at the bigger stage and people would have appreciated him more. And obviously said, you know, fortunate college basketball got postponed, canceled, and we weren't able to see him, you know, flourish against Dukes and Michigan States and, you know, all the big time program, Kansas and all that would like, and I think he would have flourished in that because he played against Michigan State early, I think in the Maui Invitational, and he ate against I forgot the kid's name, but he wound up being drafted too. But he was an intriguing prospect for me, and you know, I got to watch a lot more film on him, and you know, there was things that I saw. Okay, this is going to translate, and I saw a lot of Mari, and I saw a lot of John Collins in him, and I was like, okay,
okay,
right,
I can see that.
That translate, and then I knew the defense would be a little bit of an issue with the you know, him not being super, you know, he's kind of robotic at times, but you know, I said he's NBA ready. He's ready to play in the NBA right now, and you know, coming into and you know, the fact that the Knicks were able to get him at 8 and not have to trade up for him, which that was the plan. That was their guy. They wanted him. They didn't have to trade up for him. You know, Chicago kind of, you know, changed it up in the draft when they took Patrick Williams. But, you know, so far he's been definitely, he just came back. He's looked impressive in the 2 games back. You know, he's just getting the feel back in the game. You know, obviously bigs take a little bit longer but, you know, his athleticism is there. You know, even his defense, which people worried about, it's looked a little like we played against Jaylen Brown yesterday. I saw a few possessions where he was one-on-one with Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown couldn't just get past him easily. So I'm like, okay, he knows where to be defensively. He just still got to work on some stuff. But, you know, I love the Obi Top pick. He was one of my guys when I went through I did a bunch of draft stuff, and I was like, man, then I would love for the Knicks to get him because they could use a guy, especially with not knowing with Randall, because at the time, Julius Randle, we didn't know, you know, his situation because he came into the and I saw a lot of interviews. He looked so disinterested. He wasn't there. He would just talk like this, like, yeah, you know, we're just not that good. He pulled like a James Harden again away. And I was like, oh, he's going to be gone. And there was a lot of people saying he's going to come off the bench and all that. So that's when I was like, oh, God, we got our insurance policy if they trade Julius. So, Julius, I think Julius looked at that and kind of, you know, okay, oh, they're trying to replace me. And I think that was a good thing for Julius that they drafted Toppin to get a little kick in the butt. Like, hey, man, like we got your replacement, so you need to do something or you're gone. You know, so
yeah.
Butt, you know, in the NBA, some guys need a little kick in the butt, and I think that was the best thing for Randall because he's played obviously great. But I think Toppin's going to be good. He's getting his legs back. and he just came back from the calf injury, and he looked good the last 2 games. So I'm excited about the future of him because he's super talented. I know people worried about his age and all that ageism. We had ageism, and it's crazy. The draft, people are like, oh, he's 22, blah,
Bro,
blah.
22.
And I'm like, yo, Tim Duncan was a 4-year player, and he was the
Yeah.
number 1 pick. Like, I don't think people complained about him being, an older player, and I think that was just silly. Like, so, but yeah, I'm happy. He's a Knick, and I think he's gonna have a bright future in this league.
You mentioned Tim Duncan, 4 years at Wake Forest, number 1 pick overall, made the All-Star team, the NBA All-Star team, not the sophomores, NBA All-Star team. His rookie year, this was also Michael Jordan's last All-Star game with the Bulls. That was my first time really falling in love with the NBA. You had Mike, you had Reggie, you had Rick Smits, Glenn Rice on that All-Star team. I mean, there was so much talent, bro, just from that time alone. But who else? You mentioned, I'll end it with this. You mentioned Julius Randle is playing better. Who else on the team has improved their play in a way that stands out among the other players on the team so far?
Obviously, yes, you said Julius Randle. RJ is still someone where you'll see games and you're like, okay, all right, he seems like he's getting it. But obviously, I think he puts too much pressure on himself at times to be the second guy.
Okay.
Because we don't have that second scorer right now. But he seems like he wants it, and he had a good game today. The last 2 games, I think he's had 20 and 10 games. So he's definitely shown that all right, he could possibly be another piece for this team. But like Mitchell Robinson has definitely, he wants a big contract, and he's playing like he wants a big contract. So, but it's just the role players. The role players have definitely been a big factor. And like I said, the rookie like quickly has definitely I didn't think he would be in the lineup this quick, being this effective. Like he's really been a big contributor to this team. But it's just I think Julius Randle's play has just really it's exceeded what we thought, and I think it's elevated everyone else a little bit. They're leveled up, and like you mentioned, coaching before. But everyone's playing their role, and I think people like if you play your role in the NBA, like you could have a good team. I've talked about this religiously. Like I don't think guys just realize you play a role. You could excel in that role, and you can make a whole lot of money in this league. There's guys who have played 15 years being a role player and made a whole lot of money. So everyone's playing their role in the Knicks. Julius Randle is living up to that contract, and I think he put a lot of pressure on himself last year, being the guy, and obviously the Knicks not doing what they did in free agency. But this year, he's definitely elevated his role to be, that point forward and just making the right plays. Shooting well from the perimeter. His 3-point shooting is definitely, I think it's around 39%, 40%. So he's shot the ball well. And like I said, everyone's just playing good basketball right now. No one else is stand out as far as that, but Julius' play is just took in another level where he right now he's an all-star top 10 MVP guy right now. And like I said, RJ's coming in and out. He's finally feeling his groove. And like I said, the rookies have played really well so far. So yeah, everyone's just playing good basketball right now, which is pretty good to see.
It is. And you mentioned one thing about playing your role, and I'll make this last comment, then we're going to be out of here for the day. You mentioned playing your role as a basketball player. And I was listening to a podcast earlier today before hopping on with you, Chris, and they talked about, now this is going to be a different scale, a better team, won championships, but the Heat from when they had Wade, Bosh, and LeBron. Think about Bosh. He was in Toronto, and he was that dude. He was amazing. If Bosh didn't accept his role and play his role very, very well, LeBron and Wade would not have had the success, and they probably would not have won the championships. The Celtics, when they had Ray Allen. If Ray Allen didn't transform his game, the Celtics wouldn't have been the team that they were. Even going down to Miami, he had to change his role there as well. And so the Cavs, Kevin Love, same thing in Minnesota. He was that dude walking 2012, 2013. I mean, busting threes and getting all the rebounds.
He was 28 and 15 one year, I believe.
He was killing, bro. He was killing. But he changed his role, accepted his role, and they had success there, won a championship in Cleveland. So a lot of players don't want to accept their role, but if they look at the championship teams and look how they're formed nowadays, if people don't accept their role, their winning is not really a thing. Chris, this has been fun, man. We got to do it again. Actually, I'll do a little plug. So those of you that are listening or watching this right now, go on Facebook, follow the Jay Stevens podcast. Coming up on February 4th at 6 p.m., we will have another live show, Let Fans Talk, and Chris will be the guest. talk about New York sports, all that area that he knows so well. We'll talk it up, chop it up a little bit. And so Chris will be back on the podcast space very soon. A different show, the only live show that I'm doing, Chris, and you're the second guest to come on. That's big, it's big news, man. Chris, thanks so much for coming on. Before we go, can you let people know where they can connect with you via social media, your network on social media, then also the website, all the good stuff where people can connect with you guys as well?
Yes. So like I said, Jay, thanks for having me on again.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, this was a lot. It's always fun chopping up with you, man. It's like I said, we go back. So, we always going to have that history together, which is dope. But yeah, you can find me on social media, Off the Ball Pod, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you can find podcasts available on all podcast platforms. You can follow the network on social media. On Twitter is OTB_network, Instagram, Facebook, Off the Ball Network. You could just type that in and you'll find that. And offtheballnetwork.com for all your sports needs. Got a bunch of articles, working on actually a couple right now. They're going to be posted, some MMA and some hockey stuff. But yeah, I just had a show that was on Dash Radio today that I'm on Dash Radio that Mondays 12 p.m. Eastern, so you could catch the show there live. And then obviously like I said, podcast everywhere. I just had a show with with my guy Dre, who used to play for out here in Queens and played some D1 at Coppin State. So you could check that out. That just came out today, that episode. That was a really fun show I did with him. But yeah, like I say, catch me there. Like I said, I'm very active on social media. Just, hit me up, follow, tweet that the Knicks stink, and we'll have some conversations. They don't think as much as they used to, so I can't, I could fire back some stuff. But yeah, obviously basketball, football, I love talking everything. So yeah, the rest I'm doing some wrestling stuff too on the network. Like I said, broadening my horizons, but yeah, you can find me there, guys.
My guy, Chris Lebron, thanks so much for coming back here on the podcast.
Yes,
Look to have you on a live show here very soon before the Knicks and the network. The Knicks are improved. The network is going places. Very happy, and I'm glad you're leading it all. Chris, thanks for coming back on, man. This has been fun.
Yes, my man, Jay. Appreciate it, brother.